Suspended reality. When you suspend your own reality, willingly entering a suspended reality created by someone or something else. Kind of like dreaming perhaps, but in a waking state, when you're just the bystander to someone else's dream. And I wonder if that's how, or why we are so taken with screens and the crafted script they convey. Because it creates a similar feeling to the one we get from dreaming. I have already written a few articles about dreams, and thoughts within that. A quantum leap in dreams, dreamy or terrifying, and are you dreaming? But what if that state of mind or reality could be induced in your waking life by way of entertainment, media, propaganda and conditioning? Many people have said sometimes through life that it seems as if it's a dream, or surreal, or that something doesn't feel real. As well as things like the Matrix films portraying well in visual format, the idea that you could go your whole life not knowing which state you were in. And one becomes the other, and you would never know which one was reality, so you just go with whichever one you think is correct perhaps. But with a nagging sensation that all is not as it seems. On both Alice in Wonderland and The Wizard of Oz, Alice and Dorothy were both portrayed as having dreamed both places, while one napping and the other having a fever. Yet the sequel for Dorothy revealed that it was not a dream, and while being incarcerated in a mental asylum to give her ECT in order to rid her of those dreams, she is taken back to Oz, giving us an idea of how people get treated if they stray from the script we are supposed to be following. Nothing fantastical or magical allowed, only mundane and ordinary, and only be creative if it can be portrayed as fiction, it seems. And even for Alice, the remake showed a return to Wonderland, and that it wasn't all just a dream or a nightmare after all, but part of a reality that isn't merged with ours, but sits alongside it, or underneath it in that case. But if we are able to suspend our own reality for the sake of fiction, could it be that fiction at some point becomes what we deem real, and we are not sure what is to be suspended anymore when it comes to conscious processing of what we think is real? Another of those prophetic things Morpheus comes out with: what is real? And of course, I'm sure many have asked themselves, and possibly others, that very question along the way. Some learning to keep quiet once they saw where you got sent for experiments and re-education, if you didn't follow the party line of society. Seems now we know more about the mechanisms of how they keep the mainstream narrative though, and keep people from asking too many questions out loud. By ridiculing, punishing, isolating, and demoralising people who question, or understand, or know more than they perhaps should. Seems like an age-old formula they wheel out again and again to steer the prevailing ideas and ideals of people. But as with most things, only works if the people fall for it. And a great weakness in people seems to be ego and what others think. Peer pressure has been a tool used for good and bad, but not all are susceptible, and therefore it seems to fit neatly that they would then have a backup plan of harsher penalties and incentives for not telling the truth, or even being able to discuss what that truth might be, because it would destabilise the whole system of reality as we have been taught. So it stays in little pockets, kept in mind and contained within an illusionary vault that has a very small and narrow path to daylight, with security systems to stop it, people to thwart it and divert it. But as it gathers pace, it starts to build and get stronger, pushing all in its path out of the way, because as the saying goes, the truth will out.